The most frustrating part about development is hitting a plateau. Welcome to McBain Moments. Alright, as always, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Please make sure you take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers! One subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Also, please consider sharing my videos to your social media platforms. It's the best way to get the word out that I'm around. Thank you very much. Plateaus. What I mean by plateaus, for those who don't know, is you're growing along a skill set. And you're getting better, and you're getting better, and then suddenly you level off. The growth stops or becomes very, very slight over a long period of time. And eventually you will overcome the plateau and you start growing again. But in the meantime, you have a problem that you can't solve. It's causing you to spin your wheels. You're not growing because you haven't addressed an issue within the skill set that you can't overcome. So, as an example, I'm a fencer, as I've probably said a million times. You know, I've got the logo of the school behind me. As a fencer, I rely on several things for my fighting style to get better. Speed, smoothness, and ability to react to changes. In fencing, it's a game of quarter seconds. Fractional seconds mean everything. That's why when you parry, you take half a step back. It gives you half a second to react to what your opponent's doing. Or when you aggress, you do multiple intentions, which is each individual strike within a move, in order to keep your opponent off balance. As a fencer, I'm at a plateau. I'm working on overcoming it. Figuring out the piece that is causing the plateau is critical to overcoming that plateau. And this is true of any skill set anywhere, whether you are in manufacturing, or you're an engineer, or you're a student of just about anything, or a pilot. I had a serious plateau when it came to landings when I was a pilot. That took me a while. And so, by the way, having a plateau at landings when you're a pilot, not so good. I mean, I could land safely. That wasn't the issue, but you have to be able to do so in a small space. You can't use the whole runway. And for a while, that was an issue. I was using more of the runway than I should, which is not to say I was in any danger at any point, but if I came to a short runway, that could eventually become a problem, or a grass field. When you run into plateaus, there are a couple of solutions you can have. One, you can talk to people to try to identify what is causing the plateau. You might be able to figure it out for yourself just by practicing over and over and saying, what am I getting wrong? Where is the mistake happening? Depending on the skill set, that might be all you need to do, is repetitiously complete the task and then identify where the mistakes are and say, okay, why is it I'm making a mistake for this piece? And go through your process and determine what the mistake is. And if you can't determine it, ask somebody who is beyond your skill set or who knows that piece better than you do. Because even if someone is not as good as you on the overall scale, they might have mastered that piece of it when you have not. And there is no shame in asking someone who has a theoretically lower skill set to help you with the piece that they've mastered that you haven't. Because then you can trade them mastery of another piece later on. That's why it's always good to train in groups. You know, something that you've mastered might be something someone else is having trouble with, but they've mastered something you're having trouble with. And so okay, you find someone to work with who can identify the problems that are created by this piece. And even if you can't find someone who's within your skill range or what have you, you might have to go find a mentor. My first fencing plateau happened about four and a half years ago. And it was 5. It was almost a solid 5. And for almost a year, I struggled with the plateau. And so I went looking for a teacher. And after almost 12 months, because I was trying to engage the wrong people to be a teacher, not because they were bad teachers, but because we didn't mesh, and I didn't realize it. I didn't have the skill to realize it. One of those people said, you know what? I'm not the right person for you, but I know who is. And he introduced me to someone. And for 3 years, that person trained me, and I broke through the plateau. It didn't take me 3 years to break the plateau. It took me probably 4 to 6 months beyond that point. But the ability to have someone to teach me was a huge change. It was a game changer. It completely changed the way my path was going. I stopped doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That is the definition of insanity. And so I tried something different. Got a different result. I've run into a plateau now. I'm only now identifying a plateau I've probably been on for 6 to 8 months. And sometimes that happens too. And so instead of trying the same thing over and over, I'm trying something different. I'm asking questions from someone who has a much higher skill set than I do. That doesn't mean that they're going to be my teacher or my mentor, although they may teach me certain things. There's a difference. Working with someone and teaching them an individual skill for a short period does not make them does not mean that there's a student-teacher relationship. It just means that they're helping you with that piece. But even so, it's important to me to be able to develop that piece and move on to the next step. And it doesn't mean that a friendship won't necessarily grow out of that. And so find the people that can help you, and then find the things that you can help them with. That'll get you over your plateaus, and then you can help them get over their plateaus, and the cycle continues. This one kind of ended up rambling a little bit. But the point is that when you hit a plateau, don't let it get to you. That's the purpose behind this whole video. When you hit a plateau, don't let it get to you. You keep working at it. You find someone to help identify the problem. Figure out how to overcome the plateau and keep growing. You will get there. A little bit at a time. This has been a McBain moment.